Rickey. Leandria Johnson told us to look to our neighbor. I looked to my neighbor and said, I got to come after that. She gave me a face like, but the spirit and the presence of the Lord is in this church. To Malik, DeEssence, Aaron, Taylor. God is. To Miss Carolita, to Brooke, God is. And especially to Brenda and Rickey, God is. To the family, friends, loved ones of Brandon, God is our refuge, our rock. And on behalf of a city that I serve, allow me to first say one thing. Our hearts are truly broken, and we grieve with this family. Now, I'd like to share a story with y'all. A couple weeks back, I got a text from Rickey. He invited me to come over and spend some time with him and his uncle and watch the game and just catch up. While there, we went deep in some conversations and eventually got around to including talking about his book, Stand By Your Truth. And so a few days later, I took a road trip down to Mobile this past Sunday. While on the road, I finished one book and literally began picking up this book about 9 a.m. By 11 a.m., I got a call with the devastating news about Brandon's passing. To be honest with you all, I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe the awful news because I felt like that I had just spent so much time with Rickey, with his family, with Brandon, just in the beginning of this book. You see, in the first several chapters of that book, Brandon has such a major presence. Rickey takes you on this journey through his words, and that journey is tied to the love of his son. We often talk about a mother's love for her children, and I see and I feel the grief in this chapel with Miss Brenda. But we sometimes overlook the relationship our men, our black men, our fathers have for their black boys. It's a love that runs so strongly, and it makes times like this even more difficult. But to the family and the friends, and especially my friend Rickey, please heed these words you shared with me not so long ago. Stand by your truth. I can imagine, and I know times like these is not easy. Rickey, I definitely know that it's times like these as you reflect and you ask, what if? It's easy to let this wash over you, to let this cloud your mind. But I want to tell you, I want to tell your family, you are a good father. A father would be quick to point at itself, to ask so many questions. And if I'm real with you, that's okay, because that's what real men, real fathers do. But through all the trials, through all the tribulations, all the heartache and grief that is in these pews with this family, it's not a time to point. It's not a time to blame. And although it hurts, I believe God's will be done. We know that
Yo, I'll come
death
back
has
on
a
here, and if you're new, consider subscribing and also liking and share the video. Now, as we are still actually deriving into the funeral service that has been organized by Rickey Smiley to his son Brandon Smiley, we are looking at a couple of things that have actually just happened in that funeral service. We saw a couple of pastors coming in and also praying for the late comedian, that is Brandon Smiley, and also we saw a couple of people coming in to pay tributes. Friends, family were in attendance. According to what you've seen, what we've seen in the couple of video clips that have been released online, we saw the place or the chapel fully packed. Actually, very many people, most especially those around Birmingham City, came in to pay their tributes and also to actually have their last eye or their last sight onto the late son of Rickey Smiley, that is Brandon Smiley. We saw the mayor of Birmingham City also coming in, like I've given you in that video. He came in and also paid tributes to the young comedian that actually passed away just a couple of days ago. Early on, we had seen Rickey Smiley coming out via his official Facebook page and said that he had been struggling. He had been going through a couple of struggles, mental, physical, because we all know when a parent loses a child, it's really very difficult. It's a situation or it's a feeling that ideally you wouldn't wish even to your enemy. So Rickey Smiley came out via his official Facebook and said that he had been struggling. He could not even eat, he could not even sleep. Actually, the past couple of days have been really very gut-wrenching and very heartbreaking to him. So he requested everyone, most especially those who wished him well, to continue sending in prayers to him and also to actually continue praying for him and also sending in those comforting messages because he was really going through a very tough time. So according to the program that had actually been released, the mass started with the public viewing service that was actually held on Friday. That was the 3rd of February 2023, and that public viewing service actually happened at the place called the Arrington Funeral Home that was located 520 Cotton Avenue, that is in the Birmingham City. Funeral arrangements are continued and for Brandon Smiley on February 4th and at around 12 p.m. at Faith Chapel. The place that became so filled up with everyone, like the fans. So the service began, the pastors came in, friends came in. We also saw Rickey Smiley in the video, like in the first video I gave you. We saw Rickey Smiley actually also introducing the widow, the granddaughter, the grandparents of Rickey himself, and even all the family members. So it was really a very, very emotional ceremony, and in this exact moment in time, all we are doing is to continue sending in our messages of sympathy, messages of prayers to the family. Rest in power the King, Brandon Smiley.